Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Jahliali in this incarnation. Well, I am here today to talk about a transit that is part of the next week, but because it is going to be perfected on October 28th, I want to mention this. It is the square between Venus in Sagittarius and Saturn retrograde in Pisces. I mentioned this in the video of the new moon in Scorpio. Um, by that moment, we are practically not going to feel it. It is going to be active until the 30, 31, 31st. But I mentioned in that video this transit because it is part of the configuration and it is setting the energy of the next 6 months. So today, tomorrow, it is going to be a day where we are going to feel it because the moon is going to enter in Virgo, and it is going to create tensions with both of them, Venus in Sagittarius and Saturn. So Venus right now, it is in a sign in which it desires freedom, expansion, connecting with the sense of the experiences, exploring new horizons. This is related to relationships, this is related to resources, and whatever thing we want to create, because Venus is desires of the soul. So a square with Saturn in Pisces could represent a moment in where all of those things are restricted. Maybe because we are in a negative perception, it is activated about reality over reality. A limiting belief, because both Sagittarius, which is the same as saying Jupiter, it are associated to beliefs, structures of thought, and those beliefs are generating this sensation of lack and restriction, or perhaps because there is a situation on the outside that is creating an obstacle or a limitation that could generate frustration. And if this happens, it is very important to observe which is the purpose of that situation, because maybe there is a decision from the responsibility of the soul, a decision that lead us to be in coherence with ourselves that we have to assume. Perhaps we need to take the initiative or to construct something, to concretize in the material reality. Perhaps it is about being responsible of certain ways of acting with other people that were in an imbalance. Perhaps it is about putting healthy boundaries with people or situations that weren't, being put, and we were giving excessive energy. Or perhaps the other aspect of this could be having to put a healthy boundary with ourselves, because we are, entering in excesses of investments of money without purpose, food, or whatever thing you can identify. And with the activation of the moon in Virgo tomorrow, any of these circumstances could also manifest symptoms in the physical body. I am saying this because once we identify what we need to do, many times we can enable the healing. And on the other hand, I want to remind you that the shadow of the energy of Sagittarius or Jupiter, which is the same, it is, I know everything of this. I know everything of this. I am a specialist in this thing. And this Venus is responding right now to a Jupiter, which is retrograde in Gemini. And since it entered in this sign, I think it is very, very synchronic with the quantity of perspectives that we have of information of one thing, many times very contradictory between each other, even in the spiritual world. So from my perspective, this has the purpose of, stop looking for somebody else to tell us the truth in one hand, then that we can question and make investigations about the information that we are acquiring, and that we can align everything to our intuition so we can create discernment. The other day, I was watching an interview of Mario Savan, a master of Kabbalah that I recommended many times in this channel, and he said this concept. It was not textual this way, but when a person it is entering in this fanatism of an ideology or a dogma, it is masking that thought in an objective truth, but actually is what that person thinks. And in a certain way, we are always experimenting limitations in terms of our perception, we as human beings. But those limitations can serve to us to question and to open ourselves to new forms and new ideas, not to over make over identifications and creating enemies on the outside. On the other hand, there is other polarity, which is opening ourselves to every idea without connection, without coherence, because that is something that I see these days a lot. So okay, I just wanted to leave this reflection today, because Venus also is going to create oppositions with Jupiter, an opposition with Jupiter. So it involves those topics too. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.